They got buyer's remorse. There's a lot of buyer's remorse going on with these Trump voters. Anytime I have an opportunity to take a shot at the Red Pill community, believe you me, I will do that. Black folks, when white folks were like, oh, then go back to Africa. And I would say, well, if I do, you will still come back there and offer me a cruise. And next thing I know, I'm in trouble. Okay? I'm on somebody's boat.
Okay, black on black, my thoughts so black, I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking that black on black.
Welcome to another wonderful World of Bob Wire podcast. Thank you guys for taking the time out to come be part of the movement. Appreciate you. As usual, like, subscribe. I appreciate your presence. We have a lot going on in the news, obviously, right? A couple of things I want to kind of touch on. The first of many things I'm going to kind of go over with you is the situation that's going on with the federal workers, right? I'm going to pull some information from NBC. It was stating federal workers' deferred resignation program was temporarily blocked, right? A federal judge temporarily blocked the Trump's administration deferred resignation program, which is part of a sweeping effort to eliminate government jobs. It's the last twist in a chaotic and distressing saga playing out for millions of government employees. U.S. District Judge George A. O'Toole Jr. blocked the fork in the road. That's how they were referencing this particular buyout that the Trump administration was trying to put forth. They was referencing it as the fork in the road, just for those who may not know. O'Toole did not express an opinion on the legality of the program, which is being challenged by several labor unions, and said he would weigh an argument next week. So what's happening here, let me sum it up in a sense. Trump is on a mission to literally, I think it was somewhere around, he was trying to get rid of 70% of the federal workers' workforce. A lot of people are probably thinking, oh, well, you know what? They're a waste on our tax dollars. They're not doing nothing. We're better off without them. I don't think most of the people understand the importance of some of these federal workers. Listen, there's going to be always waste in any level of business, whether if you're in the private sector or within the government sector, right? And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a desire to clean up as much of the waste as you can, because at the end of the day, this is all of our money, right? This is taxpayer dollars. I get it. But we can't just go in, right, without understanding the particular jobs and positions that these people are holding and saying, let's just get them out of here. They're a strain on tax dollars. We don't know what their positions are, or just think that you could take somebody out and just put another person in place of them, someone with far less experience, right? A lot of these people are holding positions that may in detail you receiving certain fundings on things that you may find near and dear to you, like Social Security checks coming out on time, right? You having the ability to go to the doctor, receiving Medicaid or if you're elderly or whatever and you're receiving Medicare, these are important parts of the government, right? These are things that we don't want to see fail, because a lot of people will be hurt behind it. A lot of people will lose their lives over this. There's a lot of veterans right now, and I was scouring the web, and I was just seeing there was a lot of people with talking points talking about citizens that were in a federal employees, and one of them was in particular, he was a veteran, and he was explaining how it's being difficult for him to go to the VA hospital, right, for things to get processed. So we have actually the soldiers who sat there and fought for our freedoms and liberties not being able to have access to go see a doctor, right? How is that a good thing? How is that a positive, right? He also mentioned about how he wasn't receiving any of his checks, that's due to him. You know what I'm saying? Once again, these are the things that get upset when all of a sudden you come in like a bull in a china shop and just say you're going to start ripping people out of jobs and positions. And then furthermore, how could all of a sudden, this is a power reach when it comes to the executive branch. A lot of people don't understand that the way things work, the Congress holds the purse, right? So that means that they decide where the money goes, right? So a president just doesn't have the right to come and say, well, we're gonna take money away from this, or we're gonna put money to that, or whatever. Everything has already been allocated by Congress, right? They own the purse at the end of the day. So when he's presenting this so-called buyout for all these federal workers, that was never part of the budget when it came to the Congress. So who is him to all of a sudden get up and say that we're going to set aside this amount of money to pay these people off? Nobody set anything up. There's no budget or anything in detail for anything like this. You're setting up for chaos, right? But that's what happens, when you voted for a person like that doesn't to be in the highest office of the land, and he truly doesn't understand how government works, right? If you gave Trump a civics test, I promise you, he would fail it miserably. He would do no better than maybe a third or fourth grader. So this is what happens. So we're getting a lot of people that are out here right now, and they got buyer's remorse. There's a lot of buyer's remorse going on with these Trump voters, and rightfully so, because we literally have a bonehead that's sitting in office that is putting us in a lot of situations that is going to be detrimental to the welfare of this country. And we should really be concerned, Now, I don't think we should sit here and just rest on our laurels in the sense of saying that, oh, well, it is what it is, and we just got to deal with it for 4 years. No, we got to start pushing back, right? We got to take to the streets. We got to let it be known. We don't want this. If you want to know how to fight, call your local congressman, you know what I'm saying? Press and say that you're unhappy with this situation, because we have Democrats there that are being weak-kneed and they're not coming out and fighting hard enough. You know what I'm saying? They're saying, oh, we don't like this, and we're going to send a strongly written letter. No. We want you out here screaming to the top of the hills. I don't want to sit here hearing you guys, there in a house, and your knees are knocking harder than Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. You know what I'm saying? No, you need to be on the front line screaming. One person in particular, I got to give so much props, man. All hail the queen. I'm going to always talk about her because she's always in the midst of throwing the bows, and that is Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett. If I wasn't a married man. I'm just saying, though, Jasmine Crockett is putting in so much work. So much work. Brothers, take a lesson from what she's doing. She's showing you how to fight. Once again, a black woman is leading the way, showing you how to throw them bows. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers would always scream, especially the Rep Hill community, and I know I may be all over the place with this, but I always got, anytime I have an opportunity to take a shot at the Rep Hill community, believe you me, I will do that. So to throw you guys in the mix, you have those Red Pill community brothers that sit up there like, I'm the alpha male and blah, blah. You guys are a bunch of knee-knocking, Scooby-Doo, type of cats when it comes to the real pressure being put on you. You're not doing nothing. You ain't saying nothing. And you get mad when you see a sister like Jasmine Crockett out there throwing those bows. And then in turn, because you're so threatened by how she comes with that level of authority, you want to say, oh, she's masculine. She has masculine energy. Whenever you saying that a woman is masculine, it's probably because you're coming off very feminine. But back to what's going on as far as with fighting back. She's there. Check her. She's got a YouTube page. Go subscribe to her. She's seriously in the trenches. Also want to give the big shout out to AOC. AOC is out there doing her business as well, fighting. All hail my Latina sister, just throwing blows. But once again, it's the progressives that are leading the charge, not these knobby-kneed moderate Democrats, okay, that want to just sit up there and want to play politics. No, we need the progressives to lead the way right now, okay? That's where we at. As I said before, I'm a big Bernie Sanders person, still is. Bernie's out there. He's talking to. Big props to Bernie. Imagine if we had Bernie Sanders as our president right now, the position we would be in. Right now, if Bernie was president, Wilfredo wouldn't be getting dragged out of his house right now, right? Maria wouldn't be sitting there with 8 kids and okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. But you get the point. That's the situation we would be in right now if we would have had a Bernie Sanders in office. I sit there and I was watching a video on YouTube, and it was this Mexican lady, and she was talking about how, the blacks need the blacks need to get together, and it's not funny, but I'm trying to be straight here. It was like the blacks need to get together and help and be supportive, because when the blacks were slaves and they tried to escape to Mexico or whatever, and she said, the Mexican helped them and whatnot, and now we're not showing that level of support, right? And I saw that and I became really enraged by this woman, the sheer arrogance of her. I was like, we were there for you guys. November 5th, when it was time to vote, 92% black women, 87% black men. We were there. We were there. We were there fighting to vote for Kamala because we knew that you guys were in danger. We knew we weren't going anywhere, right? As black folks in this country. You know what I'm saying? We have a rich history of white folks can't live without us. And I could prove it to you because they literally crossed the goddamn Atlantic back in 1619 to go all the way to goddamn West Africa to grab us and bring us over here. You know how long it takes to get to West Africa right now? But back then, some of those mugs never came back home. But they all left in the journey of, we want to bring back Africans. So listen, America never ever wants us to go home. So, just a little sidebar note, black folks, when white folks were like, oh, then go back to Africa. And I would say, well, if I do, you will still come back there and offer me a cruise. And next thing I know, I'm in trouble. Okay. I'm on somebody's boat. So please, they don't want you from here. They want to keep us here. So we knew we weren't going anywhere. Right. But we knew you motherfuckers were in danger of going somewhere. Right. So we showed up and we put out there and we showed out and we voted and we were in unison with you, right? So I look at her and I say, don't hand me that bullshit. Don't blame black folks for that. But I find that's just, isn't that American though for you? That even though we voted to help you and we did everything we could and y'all voted against your own interests, somehow you spin the whole story and still blame black folk. If that ain't American, then I don't know what is. America will find a way to somehow blame some Negro, even though a Negro is not even present. They'll produce a Negro. They'll probably put a white person in blackface to blame him because they just wants to blame the Negro. And that's what you're doing, okay? So listen, your people, unfortunately, voted in that fashion when it was like 50, I think it was 55%. Of you guys probably voted for, in total, that's men and women, I think together like 55% of the Latino community voted for Kamala. So that means that was a startling 45% that voted in favor of Trump. And your Latino men voted overwhelmingly, I don't know, I think it was somewhere around 55, 56% of Latino men voted for Trump. So, look no further than your man, okay? He's the one that kind of did that to you, unfortunately, But I know they're saying that there's black folks that are sitting there and they're saying, go home, go back to Mexico, whatever. Listen, I don't agree with doing lowbrow shit like that. No. I would never agree to any of that. That's not cool and it's not right. But at the end of the day, for those men that voted for Trump, fuck you. That's the way I feel about it, But ultimately, I hate to see this happen to you as a community. And I hope that things do get better. And I hope that this becomes a learning lesson for everyone, right? When I hear you say things like, he promised not to he only promised to go after the illegal immigrants, that the criminals. And I sit there and I'm like, oh my God, like if you guys just injected a little bit of critical thought, you would have stopped and said, well, he's going to more than likely say, just the fact of me being here, not legitimately, that's criminal by its nature. So it didn't matter that you were breaking into a Target or snatch and grab or anything like that or hurting folks or whatever. Just your mere presence being here was criminal as far as he was concerned. So that meant he was going to haul your ass out of here. So once again, this is a whole learning lesson. You know what I'm saying? Guys, get ready for the the midterms when that comes about. You know, I'm going to be screaming about that a lot too. That's also a big opportunity for us to fight back. I think there's also some special elections that are going to be going on. I think there's like 2 houses that's going to be up, like coming up soon. I'll find that out and speak about it. Up next in the United Confederate States of America, a federal judge weighing in whether to block Doge access to the U.S. Labor Department. So these are what these guys, they're on one. Here we go. I'm reading this from the Associated Press just for you guys to know where the source comes from, so you don't think that I'm just sitting here reading biased media, which I'm sure some of you are going to feel that way anyway, but still, middle finger to you. A federal judge heard arguments Friday over whether to block Trump's advisor, Elon Musk, team from accessing the Labor Department, which has investigated the billionaire's company. The Trump administration agreed earlier this week that Doge wouldn't get access to the Labor Department data until after a ruling from the U.S. District Judge John Bates, an appointee of Republican President George W. Bush. He did not immediately say when he would rule. A group of labor unions, oh, right there, big shout to the unions. If you're not a union member, thank a union member, okay? I'm going to sing that to the hills. The unions are always out there on the front line, guys. They're fighting for American justice, seriously. A group of labor unions sued to keep Doge workers out of the system that they say contained sensitive information about workers, including those who have filed safety complaints about their employees. For all my construction workers out there, whatever, that they're going to soon come. They want to get rid of OSHA, right? And I know we'll be on the job site and we're like, oh man, OSHA ain't shit. When the last time you seen OSHA? OSHA is like the phantom. You know, you hear about them, but you never see them. There's a reason why, because there is not very many OSHA workers. Okay, it's a federally funded program, but thank God that they exist, right? Because it is a place where we could go to and say when safety measures aren't being met on a job, and there's a potential for someone to get hurt or killed or whatever, that you can call on OSHA and make a complaint to try to get things to get enacted for your own very safety, right? So don't kill the very thing that you actually need. And a lot of times we make those sort of mistakes, right? We just want to hate on it because we say it doesn't work fast enough. But unfortunately, the way the world works in this country, the wheel of justice always moves slow, okay? So guys, we are in a full-fledged oligarchy. We literally have the world's richest man doing everything that he can with the blessings of Trump, with all the powers of Trump, to cut and dismantle all of these agencies that are set here to protect us and help us as citizens. We're in a state of an emergency. And that's simply not a joke. There's nothing funny to be said about that. I understand that, there's a lot of Trump supporters that they're probably realizing that this is stupid and they don't want to, go back and admit it, But at some point in time, you guys got to open your eyes and say, listen, man, this guy is literally threatening this thing that you so-called love, America. They're literally trying to rip it apart. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people that are committed to white supremacy, and they're willing to allow this United States of America experiment to end, just on the sake of racism. Because they prefer this country to be a racist country, and don't care what happens to it, ultimately. But for us more sane-minded people, we got to realize that this is dangerous. Trump has allowed the richest man in the world to create this Doge, this almost like KGB unit that's not constitutional in any way. I mean, they have no. They're not written in the Constitution in any way. What powers do they have? All Doge is, for people who may not know, is it's just a bunch of advisors to the president, right? But that doesn't give them the right to go and just enter into our information as far as the Treasury, the Labor Departments, and so forth. And they're there to advise the president, and that's it. But they're overstepping their bounds. And the executive branch is going to continuously push to see how much power grab they could do. Unfortunately, Congress, which is supposed to push back and say, no, we have checks and balances in this country. We're not going to allow one branch to become more powerful than the other, right? They're all supposed to rule like a third, you know, the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. All come together to make one whole. For those who may not know fractions or whatever, that's just a third apiece. And right now, it's looking like Congress is just rolling over and just saying, rub my fucking belly. You know, we got to wake up, guys. Hip hop has lost an icon in all due respects, Irv Gotti. Gotti was a major player in rap and R&B around the turn of the millennial, singing and producing for the likes of Ja Rule and Ashanti. Irv Gotti, the music producer and executive who founded the influential Murder Inc. label, has died, the New York Times reported, citing statements from Murder Inc., former partner label Def Jam's Recording. The number one cause of death was given. Gotti, no cause of death was given. I did find out some information later, and I'm going to add to that as I go. No cause of death was given. Gotti was 54 years old. Irv Gotti was born Irvin Domingo Lorenzo Jr. in Hollis, Queens in 1971, but was re-Christianed by Jay-Z after contributing to the release and production of Reasonable Doubt after the mafia boss John Gotti, henceforth known by the new moniker Gotti. So apparently Jay gave him that Gotti at the end of his name. Gotti worked in A&R for Def Jam, signing DMX, and executive producing his debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. And I mean, that album was, boy, when that dropped, listen, for you older heads, if you were in a tunnel back then, and that dropped, you better not have been rolling solo, I can tell you that much, okay? You better had a team there, okay? That's the way it was when that dropped. Where my dog's at? Whew. The news of Gotti death prompted reactions from collaborators and foes from throughout his career. Former rival 50 Cent posted a photo of himself beside the tombstone on Instagram, writing, "I'm smoking on that Gotti pack. Nah, God bless him." Fucking Curtis. Fucking Curtis, man. Isn't he right now doing a fucking residency in Vegas? I think he's got a residency going on. A lot of people have been complaining about that. Talking about the way he's dancing. Still doing the same old two-step, you know, out there on this show. Curtis, you need to concentrate on just doing a decent residency. I don't know listen, I get it. I know people must like the trolling and all the bullshit from 50. But listen, there's a time and a place for everything, man. And I don't think that that's appropriate for you to do something like that. At the end of the day, this guy has a family, right? At least be respectful of the family. If you pretending like you smoking his goddamn ashes, talking about you smoking on that Gotti pack, what's going to happen to you one day, 50? Okay? I mean, we're all mortal, and we all going to come to, you know, some form of finality, right? And you would want to think that people would just be a little bit more respectful and a little bit more mindful. 50, I mean, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, at least act the age of your name. I mean, what, 50 is like 50-something years old now, right? It's my age. It's 49. Okay.
Just under 50.
Grow the fuck up, 50, okay? Because I'm all about the dollar. What the fuck's a 50 cent? Always loved that Jay said that about him. Always loved that line. But I want to talk about what I did hear about in reference to Irv Gotti's situation. Apparently, he had the stroke, obviously. I think it was 2 strokes he ended up suffering. Apparently, he was suffering with diabetes really bad. He admitted that at the time that he wasn't taking his medication like he should have. Apparently, later on, he was trying to eat better from what I was understanding. I was hearing that report on Willie D's show. He was talking about how he was trying to improve his situation, his life situation, and get himself together. And I want to talk about that. That's when I heard that. It's kind of like a little own personal journey when it comes to me. For instance, I I'm still in the struggle of keeping my health in the right place where it's supposed to be at, right? I was diagnosed with diabetes myself also, just 2.5 years ago, whatever. Constantly fighting pre-diabetes, but of course it spilled into diabetes, because not changing the diet habit, right? I ballooned up to 350, right? And I currently sit at 215 right now, No, it wasn't Ozempic, guys. No. Actually came down to just dieting, eating better, moderate working out. And I'm not saying anything negative towards it. If your doctor gives you Ozempic, it is a diabetic medication, use it, but I was on metformin. On metformin, and there was another one that I was using, another tablet, Jardiance. Those are the two medications that I was on myself. It got my numbers all the way down to where I'm not even in a pre-diabetic range or anything like that anymore. So me, myself, I was fighting with type 2 diabetes, where obviously that's where you use the pills or whatever the case may be, metformin, Jardiance, Ozempic, or whatever medication that you receive from your doctor. Irv Gotti, he was type 1. He was insulin based, and he was admitting he wasn't even taking his insulin like he was supposed to. Which is really unfortunate, very unfortunate. And for just a little history behind it, for those who may not know, if you kind of starts off with being pre-diabetic, and then boom, it falls into maybe type 2. And when you're in type 2, you have to play serious, because now you could fall into being a type 1 diabetic. When you're type 1 diabetic, then all of a sudden you're insulin dependent, and it's serious. Diabetes affect a lot of parts of your body, your organs, your vision, everything. Everything could be really affected behind that. So I want to tell people, take it serious. In our culture, we, especially as men, we don't like to listen to what the doctors say. We keep thinking that we're invincible, right? We say, I'm not taking all these pills. I'm not doing this. I'm going to take, I heard somewhere that says take this particular root or this herb or this, whatever. All these ridiculous things, because we don't want to follow Western medication to a degree, right? We need to stop that. We have to get our health together. Yes, eat better. But on top of it, take your medication, guys, because we're shortening our lifespans, right? So it's very unfortunate that has happened. I mean, we've lost a lot of hip hop legends due to just bad eating situations. I mean, one that always come to mind is Big Pun. Big Pun was trying to get his health back together and whatnot, and then unfortunately he had his demise. I look at Fat Joe. Fat Joe's slimming himself down. He's getting himself right. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be a little bit more health conscious, guys. Let's take care of our health. We need to be here. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take much, man. I did very little moderate working out. I mean, nothing crazy. I've never joined the gym. Not that I'm against it, so don't think I'm saying that. I just know I'm not a gym person. If I had to go to a gym, I was never going to go, right? So just little stuff, in the house, a couple of sit-ups, a couple of push-ups, you know what I'm saying? A little jog in place, you know what I'm saying? Bring up the heart rate a little bit, you know what I mean? You don't got to sit up there and look like, like Mr. Atlas or nothing like that. Just try to get your weight in respect and stay in tune with your doctor. You know what I'm saying? I have an Asian doctor, man, and she's all on my shit. She's on top of me. And I appreciate her for that. And then I also got to give a lot of thanks to my wife. My wife is interested in me being here, so it's very important that your wife actually likes you guys. Just for you to know, there's a lot of guys out here, your wife don't necessarily like you. So get that in order first, and then we'll work on the dieting. But make sure your wife or your girlfriend likes you, because then they'll tend to help you eat better. My wife was on top of my back with that. She didn't want to lose the kid. And, and I had 2 daughters. I had to make sure I survived for them, right? So it's unfortunate that he came to his demise, but we salute him. He committed, he brought a lot to the hip hop culture, and a lot of respect goes out to him. And just middle finger to you, 50 Cent, for what you were saying. Like, I don't appreciate that level of trolling. It's just no place for any of that. But guys, we're in Black History Month, right? That's always important. I actually myself, I had a speech that I had went and did at the Schomburg Center in Harlem. And I went out there and spoke. We were with the tour guide, and we were learning a lot about James Baldwin, Malcolm X, a lot of the black civil rights leaders and stuff. If you ever find yourself in Harlem, it's on 135th Street, and it's right across the street from Harlem Hospital. I think is that Lenox Avenue, I think that is. Yeah,
That's not me, bro.
yeah. I can't depend on you for that, but yes, I believe it's Lenox Avenue for you guys. But you can't miss Harlem Hospital, right? So it's literally across the street from Harlem Hospital on 135th Street. You'll see it, Schomburg Center. Go in there. It's a library and everything. So you could go there. You'll hear a lot about the culture. You know what I'm saying? It was a wonderful experience, and it was really nice that I had, you know what I'm saying, my man Bill, who wanted me to be there and speak and whatnot. He gave me a moment to say my little piece, and I appreciate that. Anytime I get a chance to speak for the culture, I'm always there for that. You know what I'm saying? But I also want to leave on a note, being that this is Black History Month, always says that I like to leave behind like parables for folks, right? I think this one is appropriate for us, right? It's Malcolm X. And it really stands to the moment of what we're living in right now when, earlier speaking about all the things that are being levied against us as far as our liberties and freedoms in this country because of this Trump administration. Here's a quote by Malcolm X. If you're not ready, if you're not ready to die for it, put the word freedom out of your vocabulary. And I really stand behind that, you know. And I know he was saying that in the sense that because if you really want freedom, you're willing to do anything that it takes to gain the freedom, right? And that's what the time we got to get on. Every generation's got to fight to continue our freedoms and expand upon it. And we're in a moment where we can't rest on the laurels of the baby boomers generation. It's our time to fight. So let's keep the fight up. Let's keep the faith. Peace, love. Thank you guys for spending some time and moments with me. I hope I brought a little bit of leviticity, some levelness, and peace to you guys. I know you do that for me, and I'll see you on the next one.
Okay,
Peace.
black on black, black my thoughts so
Really?
black,
Yeah.
black.
Oh, okay. I thought that was someone that Big was messing with.
No, she was an artist. She was on a few Ja Rule hits.
Doing what?
Singing.
Charlie Baltimore can't sing. What are you talking about?